The Sally House, nestled in the quiet town of Atchison, Kansas, is a seemingly ordinary two-story white brick home that dates back to the mid-19th century. Its exterior, while quaint and unassuming, hides a dark and malevolent history that has terrified those who have dared to cross its threshold. The house's reputation as one of the most haunted places in America is well earned, as it has been the site of numerous disturbing paranormal events that continue to defy explanation. The legend of the Sally House begins with a tale of tragic death. In the late 1800s, the house was home to Dr. Charles Finney, a well-respected local physician. One day, a young girl known only as Sally was brought to the doctor's home, suffering from acute appendicitis. The story goes that Dr. Finney, realizing the severity of her condition, decided to operate immediately to save her life. However, there was no time for proper anesthesia, and Sally was awake and in agony as the doctor attempted the surgery. Tragically, the procedure failed, and Sally died on the operating table, her last moments filled with unimaginable pain and fear. It is said that Sally's spirit remained in the house, unable to move on due to the trauma of her death. For decades, the house remained relatively quiet, with only the occasional report of strange noises or cold spots. However, everything changed in the early 1990s when a young couple, Tony and Deborah Pickman, moved into the Sally house with the hopes of starting a family. They were unaware of the house's dark history and moved in with high spirits, but their happiness quickly turned to dread as they began to experience a series of unexplained and increasingly violent paranormal events. It started innocently enough, with strange occurrences that could be easily dismissed. Lights would flicker on and off, appliances would malfunction, and their dog, normally calm and friendly, would growl and bark at seemingly nothing. At first, Tony and Deborah laughed these incidents off, attributing them to the quirks of an old house, but soon, the activity would escalate. One of the earliest and most disturbing events involved the nursery they had prepared for their future child. Deborah had noticed that the stuffed animals and toys in the room would be rearranged overnight, despite the door being closed and locked. On one occasion, she found all the toys in a perfect circle in the center of the room, as if they were placed there deliberately. More unsettling still, the toys would sometimes appear to move on their own, with a small stuffed bear being seen by both Tony and Deborah sliding across the crib. As the weeks passed, Tony began to experience strange physical sensations, most notably a burning feeling on his skin. One evening, while watching television, he suddenly winced in pain. Deborah, concerned, asked what was wrong, and Tony lifted his shirt to reveal 3 deep red scratches across his stomach. The scratches were fresh, yet there was no explanation for how they had appeared. This was only the beginning of Tony's torment. The scratches became a regular occurrence, often appearing on Tony's back, chest, and arms. They would manifest suddenly, usually after he had a negative or confrontational thought about the house or its unseen occupants. The couple sought help from friends and paranormal investigators, hoping to understand what was happening to them. They were told that the scratches were a sign of a malevolent spirit, possibly Sally, who was angry and seeking revenge for the pain she had endured in life. Desperate for answers, the Pickmans allowed several paranormal teams to investigate the house. These teams reported a range of disturbing phenomena, including the sighting of shadowy figures, the sound of disembodied voices, and even the appearance of a ghost of a young girl. One investigator captured a chilling EVP, or better known as electronic voice phenomenon, in which a child's voice could be heard saying, "I am here," followed by a soft, eerie giggle. But it was the physical attacks on Tony that continued to be the most terrifying aspect of their ordeal. The scratches grew more violent, and on one occasion Tony felt a sharp, stabbing pain in his side. When he lifted his shirt, there were burn marks forming the word "die" across his abdomen. The attack left him shaken and terrified for his safety. The couple knew they could not stay in the house any longer. As they prepared to leave the Sally house for good, the paranormal activity reached a fever pitch. Objects flew off shelves, doors slammed shut, and lights flickered ominously. The couple's dog refused to enter the house, whimpering and pulling at the leash whenever they approached the front door. On their final night in the house, they both awoke to the sound of a child's laughter echoing through the halls. The laughter grew louder and more maniacal until it filled the entire house. And then, just as suddenly as it all began, it stopped. The silence that followed was deafening, and they fled the house without looking back. The Pickmans moved far away from Atchison, but the scars of their time in the Sally house remained with them. Tony continued to experience strange phenomena for years afterward, and the couple's story became one of the most compelling accounts of a haunting in modern history. Since the Pickmans' departure, the Sally house has remained a popular destination for ghost hunters and thrill seekers. Many have come seeking to experience the terror firsthand, and few leave disappointed. The house's reputation for violent and unpredictable paranormal activity has only grown, with countless reports of visitors being scratched, bitten, or shoved by unseen forces. Some have even claimed to have seen the ghost of Sally herself, her sad dark eyes watching from the shadows. Today, the Sally house stands as a chilling reminder of the unknown and the unexplained. It is a place where the line between the living and the dead is thin, where past traumas linger, and where the spirit of a young girl named Sally still cries out for justice. Whether one believes in ghosts or not, there is no denying the palpable sense of dread that fills the airs within its walls. A house where darkness reigns and where fear is a constant companion.